Hello guys, welcome back to Barovia Made. Today we got a bit of a different one. You might notice there is already something here. Usually at this stage of the video there is nothing on the bench and we're talking about how we have no idea how we're going to do a project. But this time I have an idea. So this old beaten up shoe rack was about to end its life at the dump. It was about to go to the tip. It's got a horrible like plastic top on it with a veneer that's chipping off, and it's just, yeah, it is what it is. But I was thinking to myself when I was about to take it out, it's got a nice metal solid frame. It's something that someone would enjoy to have, but I don't want to put it on marketplace with chips and stuff on it, and I'd probably only get about 10 or 20 pounds for it. But what I do have is a bunch of this red oak that is just sat collecting dust in my shed. Now, I haven't got enough small pieces to make a nice big top for, let's say, a coffee table or a dining table or a desk, but I do have enough to make a top for this. So I want to try do a furniture flip, if that's what you want to call it, where we're just going to be making a new top for this, putting it on, put it on marketplace, maybe try get 50, 60 pounds for a little cheapy shoe rack with a nice top in it. So enough talking, let's get into it. First thing we need to do, cut all these down so they are exact same size. So let's do that. So, like I said, and we'd get all these cut down to the exact same size, trying to keep everything at a perfect 90-degree angle, checking the blade and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot of repeating here, just going through and, well, squaring everything up, getting everything to the same size. The reason why it's important for it to be the same size is because we're doing it in like a brick formation. If one part is slightly off, it's going to leave gaps. So if they're all the same size, they can perfectly lay up against each other and, not interfere. But if they're like a millimeter or so off, that will translate through the whole board. So it all needs to be the same width. You can get away with this different lengths and stuff, but you want it to be a nice pattern. So you want it all to be roughly the same. So we're going on cutting everything to the same size and every which way. And it's important when doing repetitive cutting like this to always stay wary of the blading and stuff like that. It's very easy to get into a pattern of just doing things and then become a bit careless and start doing things that you shouldn't be doing, that are things that are unsafe. So when doing repeated stuff like this, try stay on the ball. Realize you are working with dangerous equipment and stay on the ball with it. Right, so we have all 28 pieces cut out. Now we're going to go to the glue up. This is going to be a complicated glue up because I am too impatient to glue up each line like this, run it back through the table saw, and then glue it all up in one big slab, which is how you should do it. I want to try do this glue up in one. I've tried doing it like this before and it did not go well. So I'm going to try to do it again because I'm an idiot and I don't learn. But I think what we are going to do is just glue it all up, put it all roughly onto this nice flat board here. Maybe get some individual, put some longer bits in like this on either side, and put like, I don't know, try and match each individual height there. So when I put these clamps down, they're all pushing at the same rate. And then I've got these clamps to go over the side here like this. So I'm hoping I can get this done and that the glue doesn't dry up too quickly as I'm doing it. But I'm just going to put it on a time lapse and we'll see how it goes. If needs be, I can come in at the end and fill these little gaps up with sawdust and wood glue or do some inlays or something else. But I want to try glue this up in one big slab. This isn't a project I'm particularly bothered about. It's more just using some scrap wood, trying some new techniques, and seeing what we can do. So less talk, more gluing, put you on a time lapse, and hopefully we can get this done. I do not have high hopes for this at all. um, I mean, it could. I can't really tell because they're all different heights, so I can't tell what's a gap and what's not. But we'll let this dry, and we'll surface plane it all down. Actually, I'm not even sure if this will fit in my surface planer. Where's my tape measure? Yeah, it'll fit in my surface planer. So we'll plane this all down once it's all dry, and have a look at the gaps. Maybe this opens up an opportunity to do like a glitch sort of effect, where everywhere there's a gap, we can put like little blocks in like this. You know, every now and again, and just patch it everywhere, because maybe that'll be an interesting look. I don't know. This one's going to be an interesting one, so stick around. Also, I've tried to keep it as flat as possible, but it's a little bit shaky in some areas. So, yeah, fingers crossed it comes out all right. If not, we have an opportunity to mess around and do some things. So, let's see how this goes. So this board really didn't come out as bad as I thought it was going to be. It turned out to be really solid. There was a little gap here and there, but the main issue I had was after surface plating, because these little scraps are from old bits of furniture. There's a few mortises and stuff like that, and empty space in the middle of some of these blocks that are glued together. I didn't think too much of it because I'm like, well, they're going to be hidden because it's going to be in the actual glue up. But the wood on top became wafer thin, and I didn't really notice it until I actually went to start sanding it. So stay tuned if you want to see how I fixed it. But as you can see here, the board wasn't quite long enough. I mean, it was long enough. I could cut it to size and stuff, but it did leave a bit short. So I had to come back with an inlay, as you can see there on that pass. That little chunk missing, I had to come back and throw that back in there. And yeah, it came out pretty seamless and it was good. And this is what I was meaning by mortises and stuff. So I came back in just doing what is basically an inlay, and there was plenty more of these to come, as you will see soon. But yeah, quite a lot of imperfections I had to go around and clean up and stuff. I think the majority of the work of this project was going back and doing some inlays, but we got it all good. We got it all cleaned up and stuff. And for some reason, I don't know if it's the amount of glue that soaked into this thing, but I had to move way down in the grits to be able to actually get this, sanded properly. I did eventually sand it all the way up to 320 grits, but in order to get the original scratch marks out off the planer, I had to go way down to 80 grit. Usually I'll start off on 150, but I had to move down to 80. But yeah, this is also some clear dry and wood glue that I'm using for the cracks and stuff. And here's some more of the mortises that revealed themselves while sanding, and I just quickly came and did some inlays. These weren't my most accurate ones. I was just really quickly doing these, so it's not my best work, but they still came out pretty good, especially using the clear drying glue and sawdust. So yeah, I just I cut them out on the chop saw after doing it all. And when you're doing inlays, by the way, don't cut your what would you call it? Don't cut the recess first and then cut the block out to put in it. Always cut your block out first and mark around it. I wasn't doing that here, so the inlays didn't come out the best, but they still came out good. A lot better than some of my first ever inlays, but not something I'd be proud. And I never actually ended up selling this table. I used it for storage. But even though all these little chunks are just scrap bits of wood that are glued together, I didn't think it was going to look as good as it did. So you'll see the reveal here in a second, but it looks really, really beautiful. And I don't know if it's because of the pattern or what it is, or it's just the wood, but I really like it. And don't worry, all those little, holes and stuff, they're all on the inside. But like I said, I never ended up selling this. I didn't even try to sell it. I put it in a corner of my shed, and tools naturally fell on it, and I thought, yeah, that's a perfect place to store my tools and stuff, so I'll just keep it for myself. This was a little bit of a wasted project, but at least it looks pretty in the shed. And this thing, it only gets held down by a few screws, so This is me quickly just going around using the square, not as a square, but as like a little measuring thing to make sure that it's actually centered on it. And this is how the shoe rack turned out. I think it looks really nice. I really do like it. I think if I were to sell it, I would be able to get a good price for it. But turns out I've got better use for it in my shed. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. That's been this little marketplace duo. Hopefully this gives you some inspiration to use some of your scrap wood and get out there, get making and selling something. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoy, guys.